Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our Global Outlook is sponsored by Maury's newsletter, Global Outlook. To receive a complimentary copy, just log on to our website, theworldreport.org. ISIS claims to have a dirty bomb after stealing 88 pounds of uranium from an Iraqi university. Meanwhile, our pathetic Pope Francis equates Christian fundamentalists with Islamic jihadis, as Shabaab storms a Kenyan quarry and beheads 36 Christians. Just for the record, Muslims slaughtering innocents this week, 683. Christians killing innocents, zero. I gotta tell you, Maury, at a time when the Christian side of religion really needs some strong leadership, we're being overrun by the coddling of Islam, the pandering to Islam. I'm really, really disappointed with this Pope. I don't know how you feel.
I agree with you, but he's a liberation priest. The liberation priests are socialists. He's
a Marxist.
He is a Marxist. I mean, he's probably a very good Christian as far as doing all the right things that the Catholic religion asks of him. But he is at heart a Marxist.
It's just like when the media, whenever there's an Islamist that murders somebody, the first thing they do is try to cover it up as fast as they can. They use his Western name, John Smith. They don't want to use the Muhammad. Seriously, I mean, the first thing they try to do is coddle and appease these people when all you have to do is look at reality. And you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences.
They are
of
murdering
reality.
swine. They are. The only thing that's similar to that is the Revolutionary Guard in Iran and Hitler's SS. They're all in the same boat. And it would be like, exactly, you made a good point. It would be like somebody saying, well, the SS, they're a little misguided. In fact, they gassed a few million Jews. That's just a side issue, not very important. You're absolutely right. We're trivializing the worst kind of murder and mayhem that has been committed in the modern world these days.
So when Pope Francis comes out and makes a statement like that, well, Christian fundamentalists have been just as bad as the Islamic jihadis. Maybe they were a couple of centuries ago, 3, 4, 5, but we're talking about modern day here.
He's going back to the Spanish Inquisition.
Absolutely.
Well, the point is, this is typical, though, of socialists. They always try to be rational about the murders and the mayhem committed by others, saying we were just as bad as they were at one time. I think his visit to Turkey was a good example.
This is where he said it, was when he was leaving Turkey.
Not only that, he was...
Maybe he said that so he wouldn't get shot on the way out the door.
No, he was afraid that there was a Christian Byzantine church, the the Turks, the Ottoman Turks, in 1452, I believe it was, they took over Constantinople, at that particular point in time, then it became Istanbul, and there was the Blue Mosque used to be a Byzantine church, and Paul VI, who came there, actually preached a Christian prayer, and it caused a lot of headaches for the church at that time. So this Pope would not even say anything that would indicate the fact that this was once a Christian church. And I think he spent more time with Bartholomew I, who is head of the Orthodox Church, which is the Greek Orthodox Church, which was a split off from the Catholic Church. And the two will never get back together, because the reason that they split off was they did not want to pay obeisance to the Pope. And I think they tried to patch it up under Pope Pius XII. That didn't work.
And now you've got ISIS that says they've got a dirty bomb. How did they get uranium from an Iraqi university when there wasn't, remember, there was no weapons of mass destruction, there's no chemical war, there was none of that in Iraq. Now we know that that's a complete fabricated lie as well.
Because, first of all, George W. Bush made the mistake of tipping his hand that he was going to invade Iraq. Remember, it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah, it took 18 months.
Yeah, so they shipped a lot of it over to Syria. Exactly. So they had some left. And if you recall, there was a nuclear facility being developed that Menachem Begin, who was then the Prime Minister of Israel.
Well, we don't know that that's what happened, but
No, he did.
They didn't never admitted that they bombed that,
Yes, they did. Oh,
that
no,
facility,
no. Yes, they
the
did.
Syrian
No,
nuclear facility.
No, not the Syrian. I'm talking about the Iraqi facility. That was in 1981. The Israelis bombed it. And this was at the beginning of the Iranian-Iraqi war, which unfortunately only lasted 8 years. Henry Kissinger made that statement. He said, it's a shame that it didn't last as long as the 30-year war between the Catholics and the Protestants in Europe, which took care of one-third of the population.
If we weren't so stupid to go in and take out Saddam, maybe it would have been a 30-year war, because Iraq was the only thing buffering Iran from everybody else.
Absolutely. But that, again, goes back to the idea that you can have democracy in the Middle East. I make that contention right now. The idea of a democracy in the Middle East is a joke.
Unless it's Israel.
Well, Israel is really not part of the Middle East. They're just like a little island in the sea of darkness. The only real ruler that knows how to handle his country in the Middle East is Sisi of Egypt. And he is more brutal than Mubarak was. Mubarak kind of let up. That's why he got in trouble, not because he hurt so many people. He kind of was going to be democratic, and he was being influenced. Well, maybe we should give the Muslim Brotherhood a little chance to express themselves. Well, what happened was they got this guy Morsi. Fortunately, Sisi wasn't shrewd enough, smart enough, tough enough, and mean enough to get rid of this guy. And any Muslim Brotherhood guy that sticks up his head now gets it shot off.
And isn't it ironic that the State Department just declared that the Muslim Brotherhood is not a terrorist organization?
There aren't too many left, so it doesn't mean that much. Well, I didn't know this.
No, they're all in the State Department and working in the administration now. Like Anthony Weiner's wife, Hillary Clinton's top aide. Her parents, her mother and father were Muslim Brotherhood, Muslim Sisterhood.
But they have no power now in Egypt.
And when Michelle Bachmann tried to bring that up and tried to do some investigation, they ran her out of town like she was a complete idiot.
The GOP, the Republican Party, I have no respect for today because they show no power. Tea Party, I have huge respect for because it evoked spontaneously. It came out of nowhere. Nobody organized it. They sent hundreds of thousands to Washington on their own money, but that was a movement. The party today, I would say,
the party leadership.
Yeah,
because at the bottom you've got some really strong people that have come in.
And I'll tell you,
Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. I don't agree with all of them on everything.
Wisconsin, but
Trey Gowdy.
I think Rance Prevey is a good man. I mean, as an organizer, he took the party from a state of desolation about 2-3 years ago, and if it wasn't for him getting things organized, the victory of the party at the legislator level, at the governor level, and at the senatorial level, and getting some additional congressmen wouldn't have happened.
I'll give him credit for the victory, but I don't think it's going to do much. Anyways.
Yeah, that's what I'm also saying.
Continuing with ISIS, why are we even, it's almost as if we're just using a fly swatter over there. It's not even worth the American troops or the bombs or the money that it takes to even be over there, to be pretending that we're fighting ISIS.
When you think about it, here suddenly this so-called caliphate has come out of nowhere, and they basically have a big chunk of Syria, they have a big chunk of Iraq.
They've got more land than Britain.
That's true. That's exactly right.
And probably more money.
Well, they in Mosul, they've got a big refinery, and they're selling it at 20.
Black market oil.
Yeah, $20 a barrel rather than.
And so now they have a dirty bomb because they just took the uranium from Mosul University, of all places. How long before those dirty bombs end up on our border?
Well, let's put it this way: we're making it easier for them to do so. These are the vicious people. And this government is not even indicating the fact that, there's some sort of erratic group. They are what I think Islamic jihadis is all about.
Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram. ISIS. I mean, this is spreading very quickly across the globe, and anyone that's in a powerful position to do anything about it is not.
Well, there's only one group that's fighting them, and that's the Kurds.
The Kurds.
God bless them. Saladin. People forget the guy that defeated the Crusaders, and really put the Turks really in control of that area was a man by the name of Saladin, who was a Kurd. The Kurds are an interesting group. They've never been able to put together a country.
Well, that's interesting, because I normally don't praise Joe Biden because there's not much to praise, but he did make the statement, we need to have 3 Iraqs, a Sunni, a Shia, and a Kurdish.
And he did it about 10 years ago.
And I got to say that was probably the smartest thing that anyone said about
Well, I don't
Iraq.
think it was a logical thing, because it's absolutely true. Every country in the Middle East is a phony country. We've talked about this before.
Drawn up on cocktail napkins.
Cocktail napkins by Churchill, Clemenceau, the leaders of the winning West at that time against Germany. Turkey was a victim because they had allied themselves with Germany and Austria-Hungary, so they lost all the Middle East territories.
So Erdogan, who was just hosting the Pope, is a very strong Islamist. One of the President Obama's best friends. He says he looks at him as a mentor for his children. Turkey is a very interesting linchpin in all of this, don't you believe?
In many ways. Well, first of all, they will never get into the Eurozone because there's still as many Muslims as have come to Europe. The power structure in Europe will never allow a Muslim country to become part of either the European community or the Eurozone. Actually, Turkey was part of NATO because they have a great army, and at that time...
But yet, whenever we need something from Turkey, like to fly our planes in or for bases to establish reloading and refueling and things, they don't help us.
Yeah, but that's because that was when the Islamists already had taken over. I'm going back to a time of the 80s, in the 70s, and the time after the war, when the leaders of Turkey were still Kemalists. Mustafa Kemal, the founder, who wanted to get rid of the Islamic religion as a basis of their functioning. And Erdogan was actually in jail for a while in the early 90s. And you had the Republican Party and the Motherland Party fighting each other. And as they were fighting each other, the reproduction of Turks, so that they became much more voluminous, all became Islamists. And now he wins that election by about 55%.
And Afghanistan is going to become another haven for Islamists as soon as we leave.
I mean, come on. Taliban is back in business in Afghanistan. It's already happening.
Should we just become an isolationist country and get out of the Middle East completely?
We have no place in the Middle East. The best thing is to have a flying force to come in if it's in our interest to do so. There's nothing we can do anymore. We have lost all opportunities for any chance to take, I put it all at the doorstep of Obama when I made that stupid June the 9th speech from Cairo, and then in Tehran, when they had a chance to overthrow that revolutionary government, not only he wouldn't get involved with it. Remember, they killed that woman who was leading some of that's all history.
And his right hand woman is Iranian, so we need to take a short commercial break. Our moment in history and 2015 predictions are straight ahead. Again, if you missed any segments, just go to our website, theworldreport.org. You can view the show, just look at a segment if you wanted to, go back and make mention of something that we said. You don't need a Google, you don't need a Yahoo or a hashtag, and it's free. We'll be right back.